Alright, I'm going to start by trying to remove this carburetor. Looks like we have a fuel line, vacuum line, 2 bolts down here, choke, throttle. I think that's it. Going to try to clean this up a little bit here. Just turning this whole thing here. Try to get the throttle linkage off now. Okay, that's off. And drop the nut in the washer. Now it's just this choke. Keep dropping washers. Choke disconnected. Okay, I think I can lift it off now. It's pretty gunked up there towards the bottom. Something I just came across is I wanted to tension the belt so I could spin the fan and see if it would spin over, but when I go to move the alternator, ear on that adjustment is broken off, like it's not even connected to that adjustment bolt there. See that? So if I move this, can't tighten down the alternator, so I might need to get a new one of those also. Got some tension on the belt. Trying to spin this fan blade. It's locked up. Might just have a ring groove or something. If I can just break it free. Yeah, I want to pull the valve cover off, but I'm worried that all this junk is going to fall into the engine. So I want to pressure wash this whole engine kind of before we move forward. So I'm going to unplug all the wires and get them out of the way first. I do not want that falling into the engine. This side here a little bit. And then I want to pull out the spark plugs, put a camera down, look at the cylinders, and then probably fill them with PB Blaster. Pressure washed in here a little bit. At least we can see the valve cover bolts now, so that's an improvement. Some of that gunk is blown away, so when we take off the valve cover, it's not going to fall into the engine. Definitely needs a lot more cleaning, of course, but a little bit of an improvement to work on it for the time being. Okay, so like I said before, I don't know enough about these trucks, and I am learning. However, I just realized that why it felt like it was locked up is because it was not in neutral. So now that the truck is in neutral, the engine's turning over just fine. It's squirting out all the PB Blaster I just put in it. So that's good news. It's not locked up. I'm just an idiot, but you know, we're gonna make mistakes like that. Just gonna spin over a few times to get that PB Blaster out of there. It spins over pretty easily actually, so that's good news. So that's the compression stroke. Alright, these are the spark plugs I pulled out in order 1 through 6. You can definitely see here 2 is cracked. 3 is severely cracked. Side Okay, I'm going to put the new spark plugs in. Old distributor to a new HEI style one. I'm going to pull this cap off. I'm going to pull out this old distributor. And clean that up. It has a lot of oil and stuff on it. I'm not sure if that's from all that stuff I sprayed in the cylinders. Yeah, I'm gonna clean up that area there a little bit before I put the new one in. Cleaned up that spot a little bit where the distributor goes in. And I also pulled off the fuel lines to the fuel pump. And look at this one this is from the tank to the pump. It's completely sealed shut. So I don't think we were getting very much fuel from that. Gonna pull out this old fuel pump now. I wanted to show how massively bigger it is. It's huge. I was not expecting it to be quite this big. Got this cleaned up a little bit at least. I got the distributor in to where I think it is okay. The rotor's pointing about here, which is where this first plug is. So I think that's a good starting point at least. I messed it up. It's supposed to be 1, 5, 3, 6, 2, 4. So I had these two backwards. When I was trying to change it, I pulled off one of the plugs and it ripped out the connector back there. So I don't know if this was just like a cheap wire or if you're supposed to be able to put that back in, but I can't get it back in. So I guess I'm going to have to get another wire. I'm going to pull this heater box out for now. So we got more room and so I can clean it up and everything. I just fought a nut in the inside of this cab for probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It wasn't even there. It wasn't even there. It had a nut on the inside of this side. There's two studs. This stud did not even have the nut on it. And I'm sitting there trying to get off a nut that isn't there for like, I just don't get it sometimes. So these two studs go through the firewall and there's nuts on them from inside the cab, which are really hard to get to and they're really hard to see. So I kept feeling, I'm like trying to get the ratchet on there and it's not doing anything. It's not getting the nut off. There wasn't a nut on it. There was one on this side, which I got off. There wasn't even one here. That's what they look like. It's just a speed nut, as they call it. Much more room for activities. And I can also clean up a lot more, paint in here, perhaps. So I think I'm going to paint the engine bay area today if I can. So I'm going to try to scrub it down with some TLR on both sides, probably the back there too. I might leave this part just because it has some little bit of blue in there. So maybe this kind of just the whole area, I guess. So I'm going to scrub it down now. Got it taped off here for the most part. Just going to take off the brake master cylinder. I've been soaking this down for pretty much every day, so hopefully it will break free here. I'm going to start off with this rust reformer. This is after the rust reformer, which is really trying to only spray on the rustiest part. It's all kind of rusty, but that's why it still looks so bad, because this is not the final coat. This is just the rust reformer, and we're going to go over it with a nice black. To pull off all the tape now. Forgot to record putting in the new master, but just those two bolts right in there. Finally got that new wire in, so we're gonna finish off this coil. Today we are going to install a new alternator. Going to plug off the heater core, new belt. I guess I can get rid of my custom tensioner here. Tell you one thing I don't like about working on these American things is all the fractions in the socket. With metric, if a 6 doesn't fit, it's probably a 7. But this, I just don't know. 7/16 to 3/8 to 7/32. It's like, I don't know, not like that. Come off that. Here's our new versus old. They do look the same, so that's good news. So this ground here, nothing was attached to it. I don't even know if this one was working when we took it off, so I can't really, I guess I'll just add a ground onto there just to be safe. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. While I wait on some paint to dry, I'm going to go ahead and swap out that with some plugs. This is like pretty much completely clogged in here. Got these two plugs on right there. All that really did was delete that loop that was in there just to clean everything up a little bit more. But man, this engine has just so much built up gunk on it. I really just want to clean it and paint it and everything, but want to make sure it runs first before we get into all that. We're gonna have to come back to the alternator for two reasons. One is I painted that bracket So we're waiting on that bracket to dry. The second thing is this bottom bolt is really hard to get out. It felt cross-threaded, and I do believe it to be cross-threaded. Looks cross-threaded, so I'm going to get a new bolt before we put that back in. No point in putting a cross-threaded bolt back in. Today we are going to install that alternator that we took out yesterday. I got a new bolt for it. Here's the new bolt I got. It's grade 8, so it's definitely way overkill for this, but that's all that they really had that was matching the length. Got everything loosely placed in here. I'm going to put the belt on now. Like my little helper here. Just a pry bar with a glove on it so I don't scratch up my new alternator here. Today we are going to reinstall the new carburetor. We have to do a wire from the voltage regulator over to the battery, a couple grounds, and then we are going to try to start this today. I think I'm going to start with this wire that goes from the horn relay over to the battery, the new horn relay also. So I'm going to put this new relay in, and new wire here over to the battery. I got the new horn relay in and also a new wire over from the battery to the horn relay. So now I'm going to work on a ground for the battery side. Here's where that new wire goes over to the horn relay. I'm going to pull this battery out now because there used to be a body ground from the battery to the body that I want to replace. The body ground used to go right here. I got some paint on it, so I'm going to go ahead and brush that off with this. I made this little ground cable. I'm going to attach that and then put the battery back in. Now we have a nice little body ground here. We have a new 12 volt going over to the horn relay. So I think our wiring is good enough for now. I'm going to put the new carburetor on now. Just going to tighten this down. This is going to be the first start attempt. Throw the gas down the car. Nothing left but to give it a shot, I guess. Try this again. We have spark. Firing order is correct. Distributor looks like it's lined up good enough. Just a little update, this engine has no compression left, so we cannot use this. So at this point, I'm just going to try and take off everything that I put on, try to return some of these parts, and then just pull this out, eventually swap something else into it.